Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Victoria Chrysler. I'm an agent here in Calgary, and today I am going to be talking about the simple steps to take to purchase a home. Number one on my list is talk to a mortgage broker. So I think that a lot of people, especially if they're first-time buyers, they think the first step is to talk to an agent, which is totally fine. I have a lot of people that reach out to me and I give them some information, but usually the first thing I get people to do is talk to a mortgage broker. Okay, so even if you don't have like all of your down payment yet, or you're still sorting some things out, they can give you an idea of what kind of debts you need to pay off, what's a priority. They can give you a general idea of what you would be able to qualify for, even if you don't have all of your down payment yet. So I would highly recommend finding someone that you can build a relationship with and work with. I do know that if you have student loan debt and things like that, it's not necessarily a deal breaker. So even if you have some inkling of an idea of maybe buying something in the future, talk to a mortgage broker. Number two on my list is save the appropriate amount of money for your down payment, or figure out where your down payment is going to come from. So usually anything up to $500,000, if it's going to be your principal residence, is a minimum of 5% down. It doesn't necessarily have to come from traditional savings. You can get an inheritance, borrow from a family member, that kind of thing. A lot of us get gifted our first down payment. That is not unusual. So figure out how much you need and then where the money's going to come from. Okay. Number three is when I would apply for a pre-approval and do the formal application with the mortgage broker. Okay, so at this point, you have a pretty good idea of like where your credit is. You've worked out sort of what you can get, and if you think that it's worth it to you to go ahead and start the process. So at this point, I would apply for a pre-approval, and once you get the pre-approval, it doesn't usually take that long. Once you have everything kind of sorted out, you're going to need to make sure that you have all of your documents available to send over to them. So that's going to be the biggest part of that, is just getting organized. And then number four on the list is when you would hire a realtor. So as a buyer, you're typically not going to pay a commission to a realtor, so you don't have to worry about that. The biggest thing is just finding somebody that you trust and has like a decent reputation. If you're going to be going to look at houses, you're going to spend quite a bit of time with whoever you decide to work with, so just keep that in mind. So once you have your agent hired, tell them your budget, your pre-approval, what you are hoping to get, and search areas, all those things, and then start narrowing down your search and get them to narrow down like what properties would be available to you. And then number five is when I would start booking showings. So once you have your pre-approval, your agent, your search is narrowed down, you know what kind of a property you're after and what you can afford, that's when I would start booking showings. So the agent will do this for you once you are actively ready to buy. If you're still 6 months out from making a decision, I wouldn't recommend doing a lot of showings at that point. Maybe doing some open houses and stuff, but typically, like if it's January and you can't buy until the summer, those properties are probably not going to be available to you anyway. So at this point, I would narrow it down to a handful of properties when you're actively ready to buy and you know what your timeline is. Honestly, looking at like 4 or 5 properties is probably sufficient if you have done these first few steps and you really know what you're looking for and you've done your research beforehand. Doing too many showings can actually be stressful and it can get a little bit confusing. So my recommendation is doing less and really going in with a clear image of what you want, and having that strict timeline in place of when you are going to be buying and moving. Okay, so number 6 is when you would write an offer to purchase. You find a house that you like, you would get your agent to write up an offer to purchase, then negotiations are going to happen, you pick your possession date. At this point, you are going to need a deposit check. So this is the only money that you need before the closing. Typically, if it's like an apartment or something, like it'll be around $5,000 or $10,000 for a deposit check. More expensive properties, the deposit's probably going to be a little bit more, but that's the only money that you need available at this point. And then number 7 would be to hire a lawyer for the closing. Okay, so if you do not already have a lawyer at this point, I would send you to my lawyer. She's also a friend of mine, so I recommend her to everybody, and she is awesome. But again, if you want to hire somebody on your own, I would look into that beforehand, because you are going to need one. The lawyers don't work off commission like we do, so you're gonna have to pay for the closing fees. Typically, it's going to be about $1,000. So just keep that in mind in your budget. And then number 8 is moving. So you're packed, you're moved, you bought the house. You're going to meet your buyer's agent on possession day for the new keys. At this point, the transfer of funds will happen. So you will have to have all of the money available prior to your possession day, prior to closing. And then that's it. And then you're in there. So you're a homeowner. You are looking to buy a house and you don't have a mortgage broker or a lawyer that you work with, I'm always happy to recommend somebody and get you in touch with someone that I trust. Okay, so that's it. And if you are a first-time buyer or you are thinking about making a purchase, I am happy to give you my first-time buyer's guide that I made. There will be a link below if you want to download that. So check below if you're interested. And thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome day.